All right, let's dive into one of the all-time great maritime mysteries. We're talking about a ship found sailing perfectly with one huge problem. The entire crew was just gone. This is the story of the Mary Celeste. So picture this. You're out on the open ocean, nothing but water for miles. And then you spot another ship. It looks a little weird. The sails are a bit torn, and it's just drifting along. But as you sail closer, a chill runs down your spine. There's no one on deck, no one at the wheel, just silence. Okay, so this isn't just a story. This really happened. The date was December 4th, 1872. A ship called the Dei Grazia comes across this other vessel, the Mary Celeste, just floating. They tried calling out to it for hours, but got nothing back. You can just imagine that sinking feeling they must have had, the feeling that something was very, very wrong. And that's the big, creepy question, right? If there's nobody on board, who's sailing the ship? It's just moving on its own, like a ghost ship? The crew of the Dei Grazia knew they had to find out. But believe me, what they found was only going to make things a whole lot weirder. So a few sailors from the Dei Grazia get on board, and what they see is just bizarre. It wasn't a wreck. There wasn't chaos. It was almost normal. Too normal. And that was the problem. It made absolutely no sense. So get this. The first thing they check is the ship itself. And it's fine. Perfectly seaworthy. Yeah, there was a little bit of water in the hold, but nothing a good crew couldn't pump out in no time. The point is, there was absolutely no reason to abandon ship. And it gets stranger. They check the cargo hold. All 1,700 barrels of alcohol are right where they should be. They check the galley. There's enough food and water on board to last for 6 months. Then they go to the crew's quarters. Everything's still there. Their clothes, their money, personal items, all untouched. What is going on? And this is the real kicker. There were no signs of a fight. At all. No broken furniture, no weapons, nothing to suggest a struggle. It was like 1 minute, 10 people were living and working on this ship, and the next, they just vanished. So if the ship is okay, then the mystery isn't about the ship at all. It's about the people, the 10 souls who were supposed to be on board. Who were they? And where in the world did they go? 10. That's the number. 10 people. A captain, his family, a whole crew. Just gone. An entire floating community erased. And this is what makes it so heartbreaking. This wasn't just some cargo ship full of rough sailors. Captain Benjamin Briggs was there with his wife, Sarah, and their 2-year-old daughter, Sophia, a toddler. Them plus 7 other crew members, all gone. But wait. Amidst all the things that were there, the boarding party noticed one very important thing was missing. The ship's lifeboat. Now, that changes everything, doesn't it? It means they weren't taken. They left. They abandoned their ship. The question is, why on earth would you do that? Why trade a big, safe ship for a tiny, fragile lifeboat in the middle of the ocean? Well, that single question has fueled over 150 years of speculation. And let me tell you, people have come up with a lot of theories. Some of them make sense, and some are just out there. Okay, let's get the obvious ones out of the way first. Pirates? Nope. A pirate would have taken the valuable cargo, not to mention the crew's personal stuff. All of that was still there. What about a mutiny? Again, no way. Like we said, there were 0 signs of a struggle. So you can pretty much cross those 2 off the list. Once you rule out the logical stuff, people's minds tend to go to some wild places. You hear theories about giant squid attacks, sea quakes, even alien abductions. And look, they're fun to think about, but there's just no evidence, 0. So, is there any theory that actually fits all the clues? Well, there's one that most experts lean towards today. It's not as exciting as a sea monster, but it's a whole lot more plausible. And it all comes down to that cargo of alcohol. Okay, so here's how it might have gone down. Step 1, a few of those barrels of denatured alcohol start to leak. Step 2, the fumes build up in the hold. Now, Captain Briggs, fearing a massive, deadly explosion is about to happen, makes a quick decision. Step 3, everybody into the lifeboat, now. He's thinking it's a temporary move, right? They launch the lifeboat, and step 4, they tie it to the Mary Celeste with a long rope just to wait out the danger. But then, step 5, The weather turns, the rope snaps, and suddenly they're in a tiny boat, watching their big, safe ship drift away from them, lost at sea. Now, that sounds pretty convincing, right? It ticks all the boxes. But here's the thing you absolutely have to remember. It's still just a theory. A good one, but not a proven fact. Because think about it. The lifeboat was never found. None of the bodies were ever recovered. There's no smoking gun. We have a really plausible story, but we don't have proof. The final true story of what happened out there seems to have gone down with those 10 people.
And that's really why we're still talking about it today. Back in 1872, when the ship was found, everyone was screaming pirates or mutiny. Then, as time went on, more scientific ideas, like the alcohol fumes theory, came along. But even now, all these years later, the case is officially unsolved. The fate of that crew is still a giant question mark.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Will we ever really know what happened? The Mary Celeste itself actually sailed for years after that day, but its greatest secret, the fate of its crew, was never discovered. It remains one of the most chilling and most compelling mysteries of the sea. It's the perfect ghost story, mainly because every last word of it is true.